What is going on, college sports fans? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today we're going to recap the entire round of 32 from March Madness, and then after we're going to go into our ESPN Tournament Challenge group, see who is in the lead going into the Sweet 16. So yeah, guys, I just want to say subscribe if you guys are new. Tomorrow we're going to have our second chance bracket up on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, let's get into these recaps, man. Our first game from Saturday was North Carolina versus Baylor. And man, it was a good one. And I was actually at work while this game was going on. And I seen that North Carolina had a big lead. I was like, okay, I'm not missing too much. But then Baylor made a huge comeback. And a lot of people I seen were saying that the refs really helped Baylor out on that comeback. I'm not so sure how true that is. I'd have to go back and watch it. But either way, they made a comeback. Armando Bacot missed like 3 or 4 free throws down the stretch. And then James Akinjo hit it and one, made the free throw, so completed the three-point play, and it was tied, sent to overtime. But then in OT, man, North Carolina ended up handling their business. And that shows a lot about a team, because to give up a big 20-point lead or whatever it was, and then go into overtime and still be able to pull it out, even though Baylor is all hyped up after that comeback and they're trying to finish it. North Carolina deserves a ton of props for finishing that game in OT. And let me tell you, RJ Davis is a absolute stud, because I went back and watched a lot of his highlights from this game. RJ Davis is an absolute beast. And yeah, North Carolina moves on to the Sweet 16, upsetting the one-seeded Baylor in their region. So yeah. Now we have Creighton versus Kansas, and Creighton was shooting lights out this entire game. And Agbaji didn't have a good first half. Creighton was shooting lights out, and it was still tied. And I was like, Creighton could maybe pull this off. You know it was going to be a fight, because these two teams are kind of regional. They're not too far apart. And Creighton came out guns blazing, man. And be on the lookout for them next season, because they lost their best player during the regular season. And I think next year Creighton is going to be a top team in the Big East. So really be on the lookout for the Blue Jays. Agbaji came back. He had a really good second half. Kansas ends up surviving. We're almost the second Big 12 one-seeded upset back-to-back games. So shout out to Kansas. They survived. They're moving on. All right, then we had Michigan versus Tennessee. Now this game, Michigan played some absolutely great defense. Hunter Dickinson had a big game, but Tennessee, a lot of it were their own fault. They shot 2 of 18 from the three-point line, and that's just not going to get it done, man. Michigan came out, and they were fighting. Tennessee just shot very poorly, and they got caught in this one. Michigan, as a double-digit seed, they are moving on to the Sweet 16. All right, then we had Richmond versus Providence. Now this game, not too much to talk about here. Providence absolutely dominated from start to finish. Al Durham got hot in the beginning. He made like 3 threes in a row, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not sure if he did anything else throughout the game, but he went on a little hot streak there and got them the lead, and they never looked back. So big shout out to Ed Cooley and his squad, because everyone doubted them. A lot of people had them losing to South Dakota State in the first round, and now they're dancing to the Sweet 16, and they get Kansas next. So Friars are dancing. Now we move on to St. Mary's versus UCLA, and this game was a fight in the first half. You know St. Mary's is going to come out with that good defense. They're going to try to control the pace, and UCLA handled that very well. They spread out their scoring across their starters, and everyone had a pretty good day for UCLA, and they got up there at the start of the second half, and a lot like Providence, they never looked back. Of course, Providence, they controlled the entire game. UCLA, they kind of just took off there in the second half and controlled the game. So the Bruins moving on. Then we had St. Peter's. Again, back-to-back years, we get a 15 seed moving on to the Sweet 16. They showed that they came to play. And, man, St. Peter's beat Murray State. I was not expecting this, because Murray State is a great team. This was their first loss of all of 2022. So, big shout out for St. Peter's, man. We'll see if they can become the first 15 seed to make it to the Elite Eight. They played awesome, man. Look out for the Peacocks. Then we had New Mexico State versus Arkansas, man. This was an ugly game. Arkansas played great defense on Teddy Buckets, really eliminated him for a good portion of the game, and that's really what it came down to. Arkansas playing great defense, and they were knocking down their free throws throughout the stretch of the game. Arkansas moves on in an ugly finish, or ugly game in general, but they get the job done there in that one. Then we had Memphis and Gonzaga. Now this one was actually surprisingly a really good game because Memphis was up at halftime by 10 points. And I was watching this one on stream with some of you guys, and me along with my viewers were like, all right, Gonzaga is going to make a run. We'll just see how Memphis responds to that run and if they can limit that run. Well, Drew Timme went on an absolute tear. He was making fadeaway post shots, hook shots. He was post spinning. He was just doing everything in his bag, and he put them on a run. And then down the stretch, it was Nembhard hitting some big time threes. But Memphis is a great team, man. They hung with him there down the stretch and still made it a game. So shout out to Memphis. They had a few opportunities there to tie it, but Gonzaga hangs on and survives because Memphis was not going away in this one. So now we get into our Sunday slate. We had Houston, Illinois first, and Houston played some great defense, man. Illinois, they were cold through the first half. Houston had a couple point lead on them, but then in the second half, Houston just hit the throttle. They were out hustling them, and they played some great defense. And Houston, again, a lot like Providence, a lot of people were doubting them, including myself. I thought that they might lose to UAB, but they are a very well-coached team. Even without Marcus Sasser, they are moving on to the Sweet 16. So Houston, going in to face Arizona next week, that will be a fantastic game. We'll get into the Arizona game here shortly. So then we had Ohio State versus Villanova. And Villanova kind of controlled most of this game. Ohio State just wasn't really able to come back. Every time they cut it within a couple possession game, Villanova would pull away again. Colin Gillespie had a really good game, not only scoring, but facilitating the basketball. Villanova moves on. They look great right now, the way that they are playing. Who could ever doubt Jay Wright in March? He is a fantastic coach. Then we had Michigan State versus Duke. Tom Izzo versus Coach K. Everyone was talking about it, and it came down to the stretch as everyone expected. I thought Michigan State kind of rushed a few of their threes. I thought they could have went for some twos, and then ultimately Duke pulled away there in the end. But Michigan State, they came out fighting, man, and I thought that they might have had it there a couple times throughout the last few minutes of the game. So, Sparty was fighting, but Duke moves on. Iowa State versus Wisconsin. We had an 11-3 upset here in this one, and the Cyclones were not going away. They actually had one of their players, their seniors, step up, and it seems that Iowa State always seems to find someone to carry the load of their scoring, and it's never really the same guy. It was Tyrese Hunter against LSU, and then against Wisconsin, it was the senior, and I can't think of his name right now, but he played an outstanding game, and they finished it down the stretch with free throws, and Wisconsin, they just couldn't get much done. Wisconsin gets upset, man, there in the second round. Then, in our last four games, to start it off, we had Notre Dame versus Texas Tech, and I was like, oh my, we could have back-to-back 11-3 seed upsets because Notre Dame was winning with about 5 to 8 minutes left in the game. They were looking like they were going to win this game. Texas Tech played some great defense, but Notre Dame, they had a very, very good game plan because they were getting the switch. They were getting Bryson Williams on their guard, and Notre Dame's guard would drive past him with ease, man. And they were getting that switch and absolutely abusing it. But Texas Tech smartly made the switch to the 2-3 for just 1 or 2 possessions, and they got some turnovers. Notre Dame wasn't expecting it. They turned the ball over. Texas Tech scored off of that, and they took the lead off of that with like under 2 minutes to go. And Then they went back to a man. They locked him down, and they finished this game a lot like Arkansas earlier with defense and free throws. They hit their free throws. I think they had like a 45% free throw shooter at the line, and he went in there and knocked down both of them. So, yeah, the Red Raiders are dancing to the Sweet 16. Then we had Miami over Auburn, man, and Miami dominated the second half of this game. They really pulled away, and Auburn, they just didn't look like they wanted it, man. It seemed like that Miami wanted it more, and that's exactly what happened, man. Charlie Brown, McGusty had a big day, and he wasn't even shooting threes. Usually McGusty is their three-point guy. He didn't even make any threes I've seen, and he still had 20. He was really carrying a big load there. Miami has some good guys that can score the ball, and look out for them, man. They could be a sleeper going up again. Oh, they got Iowa State, so either them or Iowa State are making the Elite Eight. That's going to be fun, man. Then we got Texas versus Purdue, and this one was sloppy, man. A lot of fouls were called, especially on Texas, but Purdue ended up getting it done. Jaden Ivey hit a couple of big-time threes, and I mean big-time threes. Jaden Ivey stuck the dagger in Texas there with those ones, and finally Purdue beats Chris Beard in March. So, yeah, man, a lot of fouls in this game, but it all came down to Jaden Ivey hitting those big-time shots. So, Purdue moving on. Then our last game, and man, this was a good one. And a lot of people were giving me slack because in my bracket I actually picked TCU to upset Arizona in the second round in my main bracket. But that turned out to be wrong. But I think TCU showed a lot of people that they were not playing around. Like they are a very good team. So I don't think my pick looks as dumb now because of how good of a game this was. But yeah, man, TCU down the stretch, their big guy, I think his last name's, I can't think of it right now, but Mike Miles is great. We all know that. He has some big-time free throws. He had a good amount of free throws in this game. But Arizona down by 3 with 30 seconds left, they got the ball, right? And they took their time. And this was crucial because a lot of people will go down there, try to rush a 3 with 30 seconds left. Arizona went down, they took their time, found a good shot, and Benedict Mathurin hit a step back 3 on Mike Miles in his grill. Nailed it, man. Absolutely nailed it. Tied the game with 12 seconds left. Like they took 18 seconds, man, to find themselves a good shot. They took their time, and I think I like that approach better than going down and rushing a 3. So I give Arizona a ton of credit there. They got into their best player's hands, and Benedict Mathurin knocked it down. So then TCU had 12 seconds, of course, to go in and try to win the game. Well, they got trapped at half court. A no call, which I probably would have called the foul there, but you got to have consistency throughout the night. You call the same fouls with 10 seconds left in the game that you do when the game just first started or any time within between. You got to be consistent with these calls. And one thing I've noticed, let me know if y'all noticed it down below, but my team's not even in the tournament, and I think the refs have been terrible this March Madness. Like, the refs have absolutely been terrible. I thought Mike Miles got fouled. He got pushed with the chest. No call. Arizona goes down and dunks it just a half a second after the buzzer. So we get OT. And in overtime, Mathurin got some huge offensive rebounds. And he really sealed this game. So Ben Mathurin, great player. He came through and won Arizona this game. And I am looking forward to these matchups in the Sweet 16. We're going to have our second chance bracket where we're going to be picking those games here tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Now, let's go in and see who is in the lead of our tournament group. All right, guys, it looks like we have a new number one, new first place leader in our ESPN Tournament Challenge, and he is by himself. No one is tied for first place with Caleb Tankersley, man. So let's get in here and take a look at his bracket, man. He's got Arizona as his champion. They're doing well, of course. Look at this. He only has one Sweet 16 pick wrong in this top bracket. He had Tennessee in there. And then he has 3 of his Final Four. Kentucky's not in there. He has Iowa State in his Final Four, which that actually could happen. If that happens, he could run away with this, man. He could run away with this because I'm not sure how many people actually have that pick. So, yeah, he's got... Looks like he's got 7 out of his 8 Elite 8s and still. So he's doing a pretty good job with his picks. So, yeah, shout out to this man, Caleb Tankersley. 1, you are the lone leader in the group right now. Let's go ahead and see who's in second place real quick. We got Mr. Bust That Bracket. I think he was in first place last week. Charlie's winning bracket, and Owen Jones, he was tied for first place last week as well. So, all their champions are still in. I think I looked at all of their brackets already because they were at the top before. So, yeah, man, that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, be on the lookout for our second chance bracket tomorrow. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. It helps me out a ton. And comment down below which matchup you're looking forward to most in the Sweet 16, and which game was your favorite game so far for all of March Madness. So yeah, let me know that down below in the comments, and it's been your boy Danny. I'm out.